All right, here we go. Section 1.3, chapter 1.3. We're talking about division of complex numbers. The first one is going to be fairly easy. They're going to give you a monomial over a binomial. A monomial over a binomial. They're both complex numbers. That might just be a 5 on top. It doesn't have to be 5i. The problem with this division, the frustration here, is that fundamentally it's bad anytime you have a square root in the denominator. Right? Anytime in mathematics you have a square root in the denominator, that's fundamentally bad. We don't like that. Okay? We have a way of, it's called rationalize the denominator, and you have a way of getting rid of it. Ultimately, I stands for what?
Imaginary.
It's an imaginary number, but it's the square root of -1. So ultimately, this problem right here presents a major problem because we have a radical in the denominator. Well, we just got done talking about how we could easily multiply it by something and get rid of that I. Right? We have a conjugate. We have a special relationship. So I know that on the bottom, if I multiply by 6 plus 3i, that I'll get rid of it, and on the bottom I'll have a real number. I'll have some number that won't have I in it. But if I multiply the bottom by 6 plus 3i, what do I have to do to the top? Why? You're right. Why? You're right. Why? Why is it okay to multiply by 6 plus 3i on the top and bottom? Say it again. You're exactly right. You took the words right out of my mouth. Say it again.
Basically multiplying it by 1. So.
Basically, it's equal to 1. 4 over 4 equals 1. Right? And so when I multiply 4 over 4 times 5, I change 5 and I make it 20 over 4, but 20 over 4 is the same as 5. It's technically the same thing. Yes, I'm rewriting it without I in the denominator, right? But technically it's the same thing because technically this is just equal to 1. That's why it's okay. We only do things that are okay. So on the top, what do I have to do? I have to distribute here and here, and I get 30i plus 15i squared. I'm going to have to simplify that later. And on the bottom, I have to FOIL it out. I get 6 times 6 is 36 plus 18i minus 18i minus 9i squared. The better and better you get, what can you eliminate on that step? What would make your life a little easier? You don't have to do the O and the I. You know that if you've set it up correctly and you have the conjugate, the O and the I are always going to cancel each other out. And you can save yourself steps. Some people like doing it. You know, I'm going to show it most of the time, but if you want to eliminate that step, I don't have a problem with that. So now, I squared makes that 15 negative, right? That turns that into negative 15. So on the top, I have negative 15 plus 30i. On the bottom, I squared cancels and changes that 9 into being positive, and I have 45 on the bottom. Great. That works out. That's all I got on the bottom. 45. Great. I'm happy this worked out. Why? We got one more step. Why can we simplify? They're all divisible by 15. Okay, not just 5. Right? 5, they're divisible by 5, but 5 is a common factor. What is 15? The greatest common factor. And let me write this in your notes. Put GCF and then write all 3 places. All 3 places. It's only okay to cancel out 15 if 15 is the GCF if it's in all 3 places. If I was doing a problem and I had 8 plus 4i, that's not a good one. Let's say 7 plus 4i over 4, right? People get in a bad habit and they want to cancel those 4's and you can't do it. Why not? Because it's not in all 3 places. If it is in all 3 places and we have a GCF and it equals 15, I can cancel there, there, and there. In my head or on paper, what I'm actually doing is dividing that by 15, that by 15, and that by 15. All 3 places. So my final answer is going to be what? Negative 1
minus 2i
plus 2i all over 3. Okay? This is the only correct answer. You'll only be given credit if you cancel. Somebody asked me yesterday, can I leave my answer as 4/6? And the answer is no. 5th grade, we learn how to simplify fractions. You can't leave answers that aren't simplified. Same thing here. Because this has a GCF in all 3 places, I need to be able to cancel.
So,
Okay?
when do we divide?
That's it. The only thing we divided really was when we multiplied by the conjugate. So let's review. In review, this is the problem. The directions are going to say divide. Okay? We multiply the conjugate, making sure we do the top and the bottom. On the bottom, when we do our work, we know that we better end up with a real number. We don't want any more i's on the bottom. We do the top, we figure out whatever the top is. If we have an I squared, we get rid of it, we write it in standard form. At this point, we look to see if there's a GCF. If there's a GCF, if all 3 places have a number in common, then we know we can cancel. Cancel, 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 then we have our final answer.
So what is 7 plus 4i over 4?
Nothing, because you don't have an I on the bottom. You're done. You're done. And it doesn't cancel. All right, let's do one more example. You're kind of right, but it is what it is. It's a division bar, and you're asked to divide. Really, you're simplifying it. Let's look at this one. 3 plus 4i all over 7 minus 5i. Why is this problem going to be harder than the one we just did?
Because now there's 2 numbers on
Because
top.
now you have a binomial on the top and you have a binomial on the bottom. You're going to have to FOIL on the top. Just an extra step. It's just an extra step. What are you going to multiply by? What's the conjugate? 7 plus 5i on the top and the bottom. All right, try it now at your desk. I'll give you 60 seconds or so. Try it now at your desk. Question.
You want us to go ahead and simplify it?
Yes, if it can be simplified, you need to simplify. Bless you. Alright, when you fold out the top and fold out the bottom, you should have gotten this before you simplified. 20, sorry, that should be a 21. 21 plus 15i plus 28i plus 20i squared over 49 minus 35i plus 35i minus 25i squared. I squared changes that 20 into being negative. 21 minus 20 is just positive 1. 15i and 28i is 33, 43i, is that right? 43i on the top. On the bottom, these cancel out. This changes that 25 into being positive, so it's 54, 64? 74. So we get 74 on the bottom. Does anything cancel?
No.
No, it does not. So that's our final answer. Nothing may cancel, right? 43 and 74, they don't have a GCF. Nothing cancels. Yes?
So every time you divide, we just multiply. You do the bottom, not the top.